game's on, and they do play the Thundercleave. That's the Elemental Shaman, Warrior, and Holy Paladin versus this HLD. We're gonna see what they're gonna pull off against this team. The Druid of the HLD is actually in stealth right now, maybe trying to get that Pounce clone off in the start.
Yeah, that could be a little bit risky, because if he does get interrupted on it, you know, things could go kind of bad with no pre-hots on the team. So, I mean, I guess it's a little bit more of an offensive strat, but he does decide to pop out a cat form and just throw those pre-hots up instead, which I think is probably a much better idea. I think this, you know, this Hunter Warlock team is probably going to want to just play it far back, use Frost Traps to control the middle of the bridge, and really just try to get dots up on everything, you know, not allow the Elemental Shaman stuff to get their damage going. And he does run in and throw down a Shadow Fury, though. I think that was kind of a bit of a waste since they really had nothing going, but that's going to prompt the Warrior to charge in on the Warlock. Looks like there's a Blade Storm coming out right away, Sweeping Strikes, but he does jump down, so that really isn't going to be too effective. Looks like they're just going to use that to try to go on the pet. Health Funnel coming out from this Warlock, trying to keep his pet alive. It looks like it will live for now.
Yeah. The Warlock jumped off rather quickly when the Warrior stormed there, so it didn't take much damage. And the Hunter didn't take much damage either because there was no Mortal Strike on him, so it was pretty easily healable for the Druid. There's a full clone on the Warrior right here.
Yeah, full clone onto that Warrior. It looks like the Hunter is going to try to get some damage onto the Warrior, though, coming out of that. Yeah, there's a nice root from the Druid, putting some damage into this Warrior. There's Sweeping Strikes going up once again, looking like he wants this damage to come in on the Warlock, down to about 50% HP. The Warrior's down to about 50% HP as well. Both healers just kind of staying far back, just trying to top their team off. The Warrior, though, is taking a ton of damage here, just kind of being in the middle of the map. Looks like he wants to kill that Fell Hunter, but the Health Funnel does come out once again, keeping his pet alive.
And the pet does actually go down. See if we're going to see a portal from the Warlock before he fell domes. No, there's the Fell right there. And yeah, the pet of the Hunter is actually pretty low as well. And there's a Thunderstorm blows off both the Hunter and the Warlock, actually.
Yeah, the Warrior, though, is down to about 40% HP. He should be fine, though. As you said, he was able to get that really good Thunderstorm off. The Paladin is going to plea quite early. There's the Innervate from the Druid as well, just trying to keep their mana pretty high. The Druid was pretty low on mana there. He should be getting back to almost full, though, with that Innervate, so he's going to be fine. It looks like he's going to drink as well and just get completely topped off, and we're just going to have a reset. We have the Hunter actually drinking, both teams just sitting on opposite sides of the map drinking up, and I mean, for the Hunter Warlock team, I think this is kind of a bad idea. They've already forced that Fell Dom. They might just be able to reset and go for another pet, whereas the Paladin Elemental Shaman Warrior team really haven't used anything yet.
Exactly.
Looks like they are actually going on that Hunter pet. There was a Lava Burst coming in on it from the Elemental Shaman. They might just be trying to kill these pets, but the Warlock also taking a ton of damage, down to 50% HP. There's Sweeping Strikes up from the Warrior.
Again.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Felon for quite some time here. They're most likely going to send his Warlock and stop him from getting a summon up, which is going to be hard because of the map. He's going to be able to portal back up and get it put up fairly easily, probably. Yeah, we're going to see that Elemental Shaman probably following the Warlock around trying to stop the summon.
Looks like the Elemental Shaman is trying to move back up top. The Warrior's going to stay down below. They need to stay split up because if he does port up, they need someone up there to interrupt him. Looks like he's going to go for the cast here. He's down below on the bottom, but the Elemental Shaman Warrior team is just going to go hard on the Druid, just try to stop that Warlock from going for his pet by putting out too much pressure. The Druid did have to pop his Bark Skin there. It's about to expire. He's about 70% HP, has lots of pre-hots, but tons of damage is coming in from this Elemental Shaman Warrior team.
Yeah. And the Warlock actually had to coil the Warrior there to save his Druid, so they do not have a coil anymore.
There's the port. It looks like the Warlock is in a pretty good position to try to get this summon off, but no, the Elemental Shaman is able to get there in time, gets a shock, a nice root onto his portal. He's down to 30% HP. The Warrior's going to pop Recklessness, putting out so much damage. Here's the Lust. This Warlock's going to be in so much trouble here. There's an Intercept. This Elemental Shaman team is just spamming so much damage. Aura Mastery is up as well. He's down to 30% HP, 20% HP. Here's a Blade Storm. He has no portal. He's going to have to eat that full. And he just has no Soul Link, just taking so much damage here. They're just desperately trying to keep him alive. There's a full Hodge and a Fear overlapped on that Druid, but looks like he has no Trinket, and this Warlock does drop his portal, jump down, report back up, so good job of him staying alive here, but for how long? He's down to 2% HP and goes down.
And there's the Elemental Shaman burst there, right there.
So we'll see if the Warlock's going to do a better job of that this time. Looks like he is going to have his pet beside him for now. I really think he should be on stay by that pillar, but we'll see if he knows better.
Yeah.
It looks like they're just going to kind of switch pillars. I guess the Warlock's probably going to reach off his portal over here, but the Druid's left out in the middle. Not sure why he's out there when his team's back behind the pillars. There's a Hodge, Barkston coming in, so much burst down to 30% HP. The Warrior is taking so much damage. He's doing so much damage, rather. He does actually get an intervene on that trap, so that was a really good job by him. The Warlock now is going to be the target. He's down to about 50% HP, and once again, his pet is beside him. He does put it on stay there, which is good, but I think he should be getting behind that pillar, trying to resummon while they're taking all this damage.
Yeah, he definitely shouldn't have the pet on stay between himself and the Elemental Shaman. That's just going to be a bad position in the end.
Yeah,
and we do see the pet go down.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to be in trouble here. It looks like he's not going to go for the pet summon right away. He's instead going to try to put a bit of damage. Nice reflect from that warrior on the immolate, though. And this Warlock's just going to be getting trained with no pet once again. There comes the Feldom. He's really going to have to be careful with this pet, or we're just going to see a repeat of the last game. I mean, there's just not much you can do without that pet. Okay, he does have it on stay now. It's not maybe the best position, but it's a lot better than having it beside you. So this could be pretty good for them.
As long as the warrior isn't able to sweeping strike it on cooldown, they're going to have, like, it's going to be so much easier for them to keep it alive.
Yep, the Druid's just going to throw the occasional hot on it to heal it through that soul link damage, but that should not be an issue. This Warlock, though, he's really not able to get very much pressure out right now. The Warrior's doing a good job with this, keeping his shield on, just reflecting as many casts as he can. There's a nice fear onto the Druid. He does trinket that, looks for a Cyclone, but does get shocked. The Elemental Shaman down to 20% HP, though. Nice Thunderstorm, good Shadow Fury, though, hitting the Paladin and the Shaman. There's a Scatter coming out onto the Paladin after that, but the Elemental Shaman's able to eat it. There's a Soul Drain coming down, but it doesn't look like it actually landed. And I believe he did Lust with his Warrior in that Cyclone. Yes, he did. So Warrior did not get the Lust. That's a pretty big deal. You can't be too happy about that. There comes a Death Coil offensively onto that Warrior. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Going to go in his Zerker stance. Not sure I agree with that while he's taking this much damage, but looks like he's going to intercept back anyway, just try to stay offensive. And this Hunter team is doing a much better job this game with the Warlock pet on stay. You know, he's really been doing a pretty good job. As I say that, though, he does bring his pet over onto the warrior, so we could see.
We do see a full trap on this Paladin right though, but the warrior gets put into a clone at the same time, so they can't really do any damage to him.
Yeah, as you see though, he was rooted with the pet on him, so he's started to hit a little bit. The pet is chasing this warrior. One of the Warlocks realizes that, so he does pull it back, but the pet is in the middle now. Once again, there's sweeping strikes. The pet's going to be taking so much damage. He does put it on stay, but it's on stay in the middle of the map. That's really not the best place to have it. He needs to pull it back to the pillar and make sure it doesn't die. A lot of damage coming in on this Warlock, though, down to 50% HP, getting a full Blade Storm on him. He does port out of that, so good job by him. There's a Scatter Trap coming in on the Paladin, but looks like the Elemental Shaman was able to ground that, and the Hunter's pet did go down during that, so he's reviving it behind the pillar.
Yeah, and with the pet position right there, the Elemental Shaman is going to be able to DPS it as soon as the lock is line of sight. Like right now, for example, he's able to spam lightning bolts into that pet as soon as the lock is on in his sight.
Yeah, he needs to actually just pull that back, put it on the pillar once again, but the pet does go down, so, I mean, this Warlock's just going to be in so much trouble now. He's nothing left. He's down 20% HP. There was a charge done onto the Druid. There's the NS coming out, but, I mean, it's really not going to make that big of a difference. He's down to 10% HP, and he does go down. Yeah,
his health didn't even move when he NS'd. I mean, he probably had like about a minute left of his Feldom right there. It's not going to be enough. You need to keep that pet alive. It's just simple as that.
So we are in Nagrand Arena once again.
It's quite simple math actually. As long as your pets survive, you might actually live. But as soon as it dies, you're going to die yourself. So.
Yeah. Warlocks are a very strong class, but they're pretty much helpless without their pets. Once again, he does put it on stay, but not the best positioning. You really want to have it hugging that pillar. As you can see, the Flame Shock already came out on it, where he's going to go hard onto this Warlock right off the bat. The Warlock is trying to get a little bit of damage out, but he's just taking so much. There's a nice web from the Hunter trying to peel him off his Warlock, let him get an immolate out there, but there comes a Reflect. He's actually did not get the Reflect on that. Lavaverse coming in onto the Hunter pet, actually, so this LA Shaman is just trying to kill these pets so fast. There was a Reflect on a clone, I believe, and the Druid is now hexed. He shifts out of that, though, no problem. Full Hodge following that up, though. There was a trap, but the LA Shaman ate it, and Pally is able to dispel that quite quickly.
Yeah, and the Hunter pet does actually go down from the Mental Shaman damage right there, and the Sweeping Strike damage from the Warrior. And the Warrior's going to sit back on this Warlock while he health falls, because the Shaman is doing so much damage to that pet, together with the Feldom damage.
Yep, I believe the pet did actually go down once again. Not quite sure about that, but I think it did.
It is actually stuck in the wall right now at pretty low health.
Oh, okay.
So they just don't stay in the wall, it seems.
Well, there was an NS coming up from the Druid there. Just so much damage on this Warlock. He's just kind of sitting in the middle a little too much. I really feel like he should be porting early, avoiding as much of that damage as he can, making sure that the Warrior's having a hard time getting back to him. But, he's just trying to stay in the middle a little too long, ending up paying for it quite a bit. The Warrior's going to charge over onto this Druid. Looks like they want to go hard on the Druid, down to 30% HP. There's a Hellstone and a Barkston. Swiftman comes up, trying to top himself back off. He's going for the clone, but it does get LOS'd. this Pally team though, he's doing such a good job keeping his team high on HP. He's pretty much full mana. Everyone's looking fine, and things are just going so well for them that the Druid is going to be in quite a bit of trouble here. He's getting Bladestorm. He has no Barks in. He's into a full Hodge, down to 40% HP. If the LA Shaman can get some burst off, he's probably going to go down to 20% HP, 10% HP. There's a Battle Master coming out of that. Does he have Swiftman? He does, but he's still at 30% HP, and he's taking so much damage.
The Druid is actually in mana trouble as well right here. The Paladin, oh, and there's a Lava Burst.
Yeah, wow, it just takes so much damage.